Short hair life. So I'm a little afraid. It's simultaneously like my dream and my worst nightmare because let's be real, like if I could wake up in Prythian, sign me up. Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. Today's video is going to be really exciting because breaking news, I am going on a book buying ban for the rest of the summertime. I know for sure that this is going to be all the way through July 31st, but I haven't decided yet if this is going to go all the way through August 31st as well. But that being said, this is definitely going to be a multi-month book buying ban for the summer season. In anticipation of my book buying ban, I have been slowly accumulating some books and I wanted to give you guys a little bit of a book haul before I go on my book buying ban, and just so you guys have a sense of the books that are on my radar that I might be reading while I'm on my ban over the summer. I'm really excited about all of these books and I can't wait to show you them. And I'm also really excited to go on my book buying ban because I really need to work through some of my physical TBR and I think this is the perfect time to do it. It kind of sucks because I feel like during the summer is when I'm out and about at bookstores more frequently, but I think also I don't like being outside a ton in the summer because it's so hot and miserable, and I am the type of person who hates the heat. Historically, I feel like I get the most reading done in the fall. This year I'm gonna try and challenge that by going on this ban and seeing if I can work through a good chunk of my physical TBR. So without further ado, let's get into all the books that I've bought recently. Also, side note, I did just get a haircut today. I'm loving it. Short hair life. I was so sick of having long hair. I was growing it out for my wedding, and now that my wedding is over, I'm so ready to have short hair and to embrace my lob for the summer. So I think I'm gonna start with romance. The first book that I picked up recently is No Matter What by Kara Bestone. If you guys remember, I don't know if I mentioned this in my last vlog, but I did read Promise Me Sunshine not that long ago, and I ended up rating that 4.5 stars, which really made me want to dive into all of Kara Bestone's other books. And I did some research and found out that she was actually releasing a book very soon after I finished Promise Me Sunshine. And the minute I saw it at Barnes & Noble, I immediately picked it up because I just really liked the way that Kara Bestone wrote Promise Me Sunshine. I think she wove in some really serious themes and topics into the story really seamlessly, and she handled all of that very sensitively and with care. I just can't wait to read another one of her books. I think she's going to be an auto-buy author for me in the future, obviously once I'm done with my book buying ban, but I think this would be a fun summer romance to read at the pool or in like an outdoor summer setting, and I just love a fun summer romance. Next, I picked up The Mistake by Elle Kennedy. This is book 2 in the Off Campus series. I have been obsessed with the Off Campus TV show. I actually read The Deal, which is book 1 in this series, last summer. I think I rated it 3 stars. It was nothing like crazy, but I think I actually unhauled that book last year, and I'm really bummed now that I know how much I love the show because I wish I would have kept it. Now that I've gotten really into the show, it's kind of inspired me to continue on reading the series, and I'm just so invested in the characters, so I cannot wait to read John Logan's story. I've heard it's juicy. Next, we have my current read, which is Phoebe Berman's Gonna Lose It by Brooke Averick. Brooke is a podcaster, and I'm a frequent listener of Brooke and Connor Make a Podcast. So when I heard that she was releasing a book, I was really excited to read it. So far, I'm loving this book. I'm about halfway through. It's a romance book, but it's kind of about intimacy anxiety, and I'm really loving the representation of that in this book. I definitely think there is a gap in the romance genre with that specific topic, and I think it's handled really sensitively. As a longtime fan of Brooke's, I'm just so excited to continue reading this book, and I am loving it. It's such a fun summer read. And then lastly, we have Into the Blue by Emma Brody. I have been hearing about this book non-stop. Everyone is reading this recently and loving it. And dare I say, this might be the most devastating romance release of 2026. Yeah, I've seen a lot of TikToks on Book Talk and reels on Instagram and reading vlogs in the BookTube community of people reading this and sobbing their eyes out, being absolutely destroyed and devastated at the end of this book. So I'm a little afraid of what I'm getting into, but I definitely want to read this. I've seen so many 5-star reviews of this book from book creators that I love and trust. So I'm really excited to jump in, tentatively, hesitantly. I have my walls up because I'm a little afraid of the emotional damage that this book is capable of, but we shall see. Okay, moving on to litfic. I only have 2 books in this category because I'm just not really in a litfic mood recently, but these 2 are books that are definitely on my radar. I have first Yesteryear by Caro Claire Burke. This is a book about trad wives, and I think it has a commentary on the religious right and the rise of like trad wife content and influencing. One of my best friends is reading this currently. Either she is still reading it or she just finished it, and she has been absolutely raving about it. Not in the way of like, this is, you know, something that makes you feel really deeply, but in the way of like, oh yeah, this, you can kind of spot the themes of this book and they're kind of reflected in our current reality and you can kind of like identify with them. So yeah, I'm fully prepared to be a little bit unsettled by this book. I do also think this would be a fun like poolside read. This is giving very much like pool book. And then next I have The Burning Side by Sarah DeMoff. If you guys don't know, I read The Bright Years by Sarah DeMoff last year and it was one of my favorite books of the entire year, if not ever. That book made me feel things that no book has ever made me feel before, and it has some of my favorite quotes from a book ever written. So I highly recommend that book if you haven't read it yet. And when I heard that she was coming out with another book this year, I was literally first in line at Barnes to get it. I'm pretty sure I actually got it before the release date. I think they put it out on the shelf early this year for some reason, but I'm not complaining. I'm really looking forward to reading this summer. I think it's going to be probably an emotionally devastating summer lit fic read. What more can you ask for? Sometimes you just need to be brought down a peg in the summer. Okay, the last category for the book haul is fantasy, but this section definitely has the most amount of books. I'm very much in a fantasy mood, which I feel like is kind of like the opposite of what you would anticipate. Most people I feel like get into a romance or lit fic mood in the summer, or even thrillers. I tend to get into a fantasy mood. I don't know why. I'm never in the right mood for the season. It's very odd. Starting out, we have The Princess Knight by Kate Jacobs. This is one that totally just sold me based on the cover. I think the cover is literally stunning and gorgeous. No notes. I have no idea what it's actually about, but I don't really care because it just looks fun. So yeah, hopefully this lives up to the cover. I also picked up Uprooted by Naomi Novik. I'm pretty sure this got a new cover because this looks different than I remember it looking at the bookstore, but I've been eyeing this book for years now at the bookstore, and I just decided one day that it was time to pull the trigger and get this, and I just feel like this would be a fun summer fantasy read. Next, I picked up Direbound by Sable Sorensen. This is for a video that I'm making. Hint, hint, wink, wink. This is gonna be a part 2 of a video I made last year, but I am trying to read some romantasy books, if you know why, and I'm excited and also like cautiously optimistic about what I've been hearing on TikTok and, you know, book talk in general about this book. I ended up picking this up. I'm, like I said, cautiously optimistic about this. We will see. We will see. I also picked up City of Gods and Monsters by Kayla Edwards. I've heard nothing but good things about this book. I've heard a lot of people say that this kind of reminds them of Crescent City, and I've been kind of itching for that feeling of reading Crescent City or even just like any Sarah J Maas book for a while. So if I can find a series that makes me feel the same way that a Sarah J Maas series makes me feel, that would be amazing. Hopefully this lives up to that, but that's a high bar to reach. I also picked up Empire of the Vampire by Jay Kristoff. I've never read anything from Jay Kristoff before. I've been hearing so many things about this on Book Talk, and this has been coming up in reading vlogs on my FYP for literally months at this point. And one day I just decided to go get it. I actually had to drive 40 minutes to an indie bookstore to find this book because it was out of stock in all of my local Barnes & Nobles and indie bookstores around me. So I put in the work for this book, and I'm really hoping it's worth it. I've heard the ending is devastating, like emotionally traumatic, so we will see. But I love to be a little bit devastated, so I'm excited about this one. I also grabbed Seek the Traitor's Son by Veronica Roth. I don't think I've read anything from Veronica Roth since the Divergent era. I don't even remember if I fully made it through Allegiant, but I was obsessed with Divergent and Insurgent. I remember vividly reading Insurgent on a plane ride when I was like 14 to my grandma's house. That whole week I was at my grandma's house, I was just like incapable of putting the book down. Like she was like trying to get my attention and like go do things, and I was just reading that book the entire week. So needless to say, it's been a minute since I've read anything from Veronica Roth, but I have been seeing this book make the rounds on social media, and I've also just kind of been tuned into Veronica Roth's online presence recently, and she's been promoting this book because it's a new release, so I am definitely anxious to read this, and hopefully it sucks me in. I'm definitely in the mood right now for a dystopian book, so I'm hoping this has a hint of like dystopian backdrop. Another book that has been all over my social media is This Kingdom Will Not Kill Me by Ilona Andrews. This is written by a husband-wife duo, which is so cool. I love that. And the premise of this book is what really got me interested. It's about a girl who kind of wakes up one day in the setting of her favorite fantasy book, like she's in the story. It's simultaneously like my dream and my worst nightmare because let's be real, like if I could wake up in Prythian, sign me up. Like I would go any day. but it really just depends on the setting. Yeah, I find this premise super interesting and I've been hearing really good things. This has an insanely high rating on Goodreads. I think this is gonna blow me away. And then lastly, I picked up Young World by Soman Chianani. I have been also in tune with his social media presence recently, especially his podcast with Victoria Aveyard. I love Victoria Aveyard. She's one of my favorite authors, especially from when I was like in my teenage years. I was really excited about this new release. I think this is a YA book, and basically the premise is that a teenager becomes president and starts this like revolution of youth leaders in the United States. And I think it's so interesting because it's almost a commentary on, you know, how old a lot of our political representatives are. I just think this is a really creative idea. And one thing that really made me interested in the book is just the number of like physical media and like interactive like art pieces in the book. I think it's so cool and unique, and I've never seen anything like that. So I'm really looking forward to this, and I think it's going to be a really cool, different reading experience that I'm used to. Those are all of the books that I've acquired recently leading up to my book buying ban. Like I said, I'm not 100% sure if it's going to last through July 31st or August 31st yet. I guess we'll kind of do a pulse check in July at some point and I'll see like how I'm feeling, but I'm really feeling motivated to tackle my physical TBR this summer, and I think it's going to be such a good summer. So many good reads on my radar, and I can't wait for warm weather and sitting outside on my balcony and just reading some really banging books. All that said, that's it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. And I will talk to you guys very soon in the next one.